the big news for Xbox was that they have partnered with Amazon Prime to bring Xbox Game Pass and cloud gaming to 200 million humans around the planet by simply connecting your Fire Stick to your TV, downloading Xbox, the app, signing in to your account using a wireless controller. And as long as you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you're good to go. Simple, makes a whole lot of sense. And now it does really answer a lot of questions as to what happened with Project Keystone. Well, we learned that it turned out that they couldn't get the price to where they wanted it. So instead of creating their own device, which of course would go against some partners, like if they create their own device, what does that say for the partnership with LG TVs and Samsung? It kind of maybe might put a strain on that, which makes perfect sense, right? So who do you partner with? Well, they started with Amazon. You understand that Roku is around the corner. That is literally an announcement that's going to be happening sooner than later, but we're specifically talking about the Amazon deal. How do you find new customers? This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you do it. And again, shout out to Paris Lilly. Shout out to Jez Corden of Windows Central. Shout out to Danny Benya of Gamertag Radio. They were all out there, just as shocked as I was. Like even Jez Corden was going back and forth with people. How is this a bad thing? How is this a console war thing? They're finding new customers. It is wild to me that this is even a conversation, but it's one I am definitely happy that we are having. I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, as far as the PS gymnasts out there, I think I know why they're trying to make this seem like it's a bad thing, because you don't need a console. Oh, no wonder they're not selling. Okay, let's think about this. Consoles, as of today, at best, you can get the Series S for around $200, $250 when you catch it on a good sale. It's a $300 console. Series X is a $500 console. You might be able to find it for $450 on occasion, sometimes as low as $400 range, closer to like the holidays and stuff. They have some newer SKUs coming out with varying prices in between. That's still a pretty big bar or high bar for entry. Like getting somebody to spend a couple $100 and then spend either money on the subscription or the individual games is the, I guess you could say the speed bump in getting more people in the door. If you can eliminate that with something either they already have in their living room or something that's like $40, and then they can just partake in some of the games, whether they do the subscription or they can play Fortnite, which, by the way, if they play Fortnite for free there and buy some skins, Microsoft still gets a cut. All right, Amazon gets a little cut. Microsoft gets a cut. Epic gets a bigger cut, obviously, but everybody wins as far as businesses are concerned. But that's your easier way for, I would say, a generation that doesn't care where they play, whether it's on their phone, on their tablet, on their PC, on their TV now. They don't really care about having a box attached to the TV as much. They don't really care about having a PC, although they would probably prefer to have a PC over a console. But in the grand scheme of things, they just want access to their games. They're in the mood to play a game. They want to have access to it now. Go have at it and have fun. If they don't have the wherewithal to get the console themselves, or the parents haven't picked up one, but they already have this, Fire Stick in the household, this is the easiest way to, like, Mom, can I, get a controller, or can I use my old controller from my old PS4 even to play some games on the TV? And it's like, well, we don't have a console. Oh, I can just use the Fire Stick. It's an app and it's free, other than when I buy skins or, stuff like that, or season passes. But, that's the win, where you're getting more people to your ecosystem by lowering the bar of entry. That's the biggest thing. But PlayStation cats aren't going to want to see it that way. They're going to want to see it where, well, PlayStation sold 60 million consoles, or supposedly, or whatever the case is. But it's like, well, all of you enthusiasts that have like 2 or 3 PlayStations in the household, that's still one household. You're not buying games per, console. So it's like, great, you're selling hardware. That's awesome. I'm pretty sure Sony thanks you for that investment. But in the grand scheme of things, it's always better to have people either constantly paying a subscription, like reoccurring income, or constantly playing or buying software, which is usually where you make your most money, the biggest profit margins, and things along those lines. So yeah, the gymnasts are going to always try to, claim their W and that this is an L in some way, shape, or form. But like you said, if you have now access to a new, possibly all new group of 200 million plus, although yes, let's admit some of us probably have, a Fire Stick in our house already and have an Xbox, but there's a good bit of people that don't. Like I said, if there's 40 some million series consoles out there, but you're having access now to 200 and almost 50 million people, well, that leaves you at least some sort of gap of like, 210 million or so, or let's just say 200 million people that you didn't have access to before. And that's where you're going to grow your business, because they always talk about how do we expand this market, considering consoles always seem to hit this brick wall of 200 million sold across all the brands that are out there. If it doesn't really grows, it just kind of contracts a little or expands a little, but it's like it's still in that bubble. But yet there's millions, if not billions, of phones out there, millions, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of PCs out there. This is just another way to get another screen that you now have access to that customer to spend money in the ecosystem. And it gives access to those that may have not had anything more than like Luna, where it's like one or two games that they would get for free being a Prime member or something like that. Now they have another way of having access to additional games and things along those lines. So we'll see where this goes, but I can't see how you see anything wrong in it, in the sense that you don't need hardware anymore. Let's move on from, console sales are king. No, it's software and services are king when it comes to these businesses and keeping them healthy. This is the way you do it. This is how you grow your base. Sony will eventually do something like this. As you see, they're a few years behind courting the PC crowd, but this is Microsoft. They're known for software and services, so of course this is their type of move. And by the way, FTC not being that cloud over their head gives them more room to do more stuff like this.
Yep.
Just saying.
I mean, there's a reason why they wanted specifically Activision. We don't know about King, but Call of Duty is tip of the spear. And listen, let's welcome in Paris Lily. What's up, brother? Good morning, man. It's super early where you are. I don't know whether you guys recorded on Kind of Funny today, because I know that you guys were sitting down with the game director and the game designer for Avowed. I cannot wait to catch it up. But good morning, brother. How you feeling?
I'm good. Good morning. How are you doing? So as for that, you just quick mention, we're doing that live. So that'll be at 11 a.m. today. Okay. We'll nice. Have Carrie Patel on talking about Avowed. So yeah, really looking forward to that conversation. But it was funny. I literally just clicked on the link on your show. And it's like Beetlejuice. Sir. It was like Beetlejuice. I heard my name. So I was like, you know what? You're talking about something that was obviously a hot topic yesterday. And I don't know if you saw the video I put out real quick, because I had
that's why I specifically mentioned you, because you were going back and forth with Jed's Court, and I saw Danny Pena jump in as well. He kind of dropped his bars. I don't understand how this is a bad
it's
thing.
Not. It's not. And here's the thing. This is not new. No, none of this is new. We've actually been talking about this. We were talking about this on XCast years ago. Gary was the first person to bring up. He goes, eventually they're going to get that Xbox app on smart TVs. They're going to get it on, basically like a USB stick or whatever, right? In other words, exactly what the Amazon Fire Stick is. They're going to put that app in as many screens as they possibly can. He said this years ago. And if you think about it, they'd already done this with the partnership with Samsung. I mean, I reviewed the Samsung TV last year, and that thing's been around for a couple of years, right? The Xbox app is built in. GeForce Now is built in. You can cloud stream on it. So they were obviously testing their own thing with Keystone. They couldn't get the price where they needed it to be. And it was so ironic. I had said just the day before when Jez broke that news, I go, they need whatever they wind up doing. It needs to be an entertainment box first and a cloud device second. I said something like similar to the Apple TV or the freaking Fire Stick. I literally said it the day before, and then they announced it. If anything, they don't have to worry about creating their own hardware. A lot of people already have this Fire Stick. So you make a partnership with Amazon. They're probably going to wind up doing one eventually with like a Roku. I can see other TV manufacturers like LG and TCL and things like that. Get that app on as many hardware devices as you can. And then you're making it more accessible to more people. You're making it more convenient for people that want to try out cloud gaming. And here's the other thing, and this is why I made that video yesterday. People are acting like Xbox is telling you cloud gaming is the primary way that you're going to play games. They are not. They never have. It is a supplementary way. It is an alternative. You are not you are not forced to use it. If you don't want a cloud stream, because right now the tech isn't necessarily where it needs to be from a latency standpoint, it's obviously usable, but it's not one-to-one to having a local hardware sitting under your television. You can still go buy a console. You can play it on the PC. No one's telling you you have to cloud stream a game, but it's awesome to have that option. I use it every now and again. I even said in the video, ironically enough, they still need to improve the service. I think GeForce Now is better.
Yeah.
You know, it does more things than cloud gaming does, but at least it's there. At least they're getting it on more devices. They're getting it in front of more people. The example I use all the time is my wife. My wife's not a gamer, but if you make it easy enough that all she has to do is pick up that controller, click on the app on the TV and start playing, how is that a bad thing? And this is where, like, again, the whole back and forth debate, the console war nonsense and all that comes into it. PlayStation will eventually do the same exact thing because they already do cloud streaming of their games. They already technically have an app. Hell, you can put that PlayStation app on your Steam Deck right now and do it. Why wouldn't they also partner with other manufacturers and get that PlayStation app on there? It's another way to interact with games. It's another way to have engagement. So these arguments that Xbox, they're abandoning consoles or abandoning hardware is just simply not true. I mean, logic. That's why I said to one person, and it just annoyed me. I'm just going to be honest. He quote tweets me and goes, "I'm saving this," because I just said this is a smart move by Xbox. He just goes, "I'm saving this." Yeah, because I'm like, what are you saving this for? Are you going to wait 2 years from now and go, see, it failed? Did you win the internet championship belt? It's like, these are the ridiculous arguments that you have online about this stuff. It's supposed to be about playing games. If you give me another avenue, another option on way I can play a game that I enjoy, I'm not going to say no to that. Why would I? It doesn't make sense that people continuously want to argue about this stuff. If you don't want a cloud stream, don't do it. Go buy a console or go buy a PC and play the game that way. So I don't know. I just wanted to chime in on that really quick because I think it's such a ridiculous argument. Xbox, this is not brand new from Xbox. They've been talking about this for multiple years. And it just so happened, obviously, they didn't come out with their own hardware. They partnered with someone that already has the hardware in a bunch of homes. It's just smart. And I guarantee you they're going to do this with Roku.
Silent Cypher, let's get you into the conversation. I mean, you heard Paris, you heard me, you've already heard Fuzzy Belvedere. I don't see this as a bad thing. I see this as consistent growth. And when you are outreaching to new customers, I don't know, and I don't have a business degree to back up my opinion, but kind of sounds like a good idea. Let's get your hot take.
Well, yeah, first off, I have to agree with all you guys, right? Like there's more positive to this than there is any negative. And I look at this and Microsoft, just like they came out and they said back in the day, they want to get their consoles, they want to get their games, they want to get all those things out to as many people as possible. So what do? You diversify the way that you're approaching the market. You open up different markets. You make it so you have access to your service everywhere possible. They've been talking about this for a long time, and Paris touched on it too, right? They've been saying this for a long time. And a lot of people out there saw the writing on the wall. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as when Xbox went PC and everyone's like, oh, well, Sony's never going to do that. But now, as we see it, Sony is starting to do that. Some plans take a little while to end up folding out, right? But like Microsoft wanted to get out to the markets, they specified this back in the day, and granted some of our infrastructure in some of the different areas, be it the States, be it international, whatever. Cloud takes a little while for you to get fully ramped up. They've been working on it, obviously, as we can see over time. It takes time to get this stuff up and running fully, but they're doing it. And it may take a little while for them to get full saturation the way that they want, but decisions like these, pickups like these, going on to Firestick, going on to Roku, going on to things like that, that's how you do it. You get out to as many people as possible in the market in the process. And there's a couple things with this whole situation coming up yesterday that kind of come to mind, right? So we talk about the fact that there was a lot of engagement farming. And I think that's primarily the reason why we saw so much aggressive backlash towards this yesterday. Is it's really people just trying to catch the wave and trying to get as much attention as they can while it's a hot topic. Maybe some people out there are actually earnest in their concerns or their frustration. I don't know how, but if you are, I mean, that's fine. But for the most part, from what I saw yesterday when I was online and I was catching up on things, it looks like a bunch of grifters just trying to get attention when they could get attention. And I saw some names out there that I was kind of surprised were even out there jumping on the bandwagon. But you know what? That's their decision. If that's what they want receipts out there for later on, that's their problem. Another thing is, like, we go back to it, right? They're diversifying the ecosystem, making it so you can access this from more points of service. How is that a bad thing? And I'll put it this way. How is that a bad thing for me as a customer? Because now if I have more points of engagement, more points of interaction with this brand that I already enjoy the ecosystem in anyways, it's a good thing for me to be able to jump onto my Roku, onto my Amazon Fire Stick, onto my TCL, like whatever, you name it. If I can access those things in more places, how is that a problem for me? And how is it a negative thing for more people to be able to play video games? I feel like it's a short-sighted argument by these people that are throwing a fit about it. Why would I be upset that more people get to play the games? That's not my problem. If more people play games, that's not a bad thing. And I would also argue if they're multiplayer games, that's even better because that means you have a more robust group of people that are online at all times filling those lobbies. So when you play games, you constantly have people playing those games. Again, not a bad thing. Another thing that I do want to say with this, right, is so obviously as you diversify and as you expand out your service over these different ecosystems, yeah, maybe you're not going to sell as much hardware. But I would argue just because they're not selling that hardware does not mean that this is a misstep. They're getting more Game Pass subscribers in the process, but guess what else they're also selling on a regular basis as they do these moves? Controllers.
I
And
knew
you and I
that
both,
is exactly where you were going. Yup.
you and I both know with how much they advertise and promote new controllers every time one comes out, they make a sweet penny off of every controller that they sell, right? The return on investment for them making those controllers is probably massive. I'm sure their revenue on those things is insane because realistically there's not that much there. So like they're probably making a very good amount off of probably making 75% or more off of a controller when they make it. And so what will they do? They'll continue to make more and more controllers. They'll continue to make it so you have more ways to play those games on those different ecosystems. Controllers aren't going anywhere. They will keep making them because just like when everyone kept buying Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, and they kept releasing it on all the different systems, if you buy it, they will keep making it. And since they know that they're going to make revenue off of those controllers, they will keep making more and more. And now that they've got more people joining the ecosystem, it's cash in pocket no matter what. I think the biggest thing of this whole situation is a lot of the people out there were engagement farming, but also I think a lot of people have a hard time with the fact that Xbox is basically going everywhere. And that makes a lot of ponies, and that makes a lot of people very upset. At the end of the day, like when I saw that stuff yesterday, you know, we talk about going back to just like keep it gaming, right? Yesterday, when I saw all this stuff, it's like, man, all these people are getting so upset over something so stupid, or they're trying to engagement farm on this thing that's just so pointless and isn't a bad thing at all. You know what I did? I turned off my phone and I went back over to playing Still Wakes the Deep.
Corkenstein, brother, thank you so much for waiting. We super appreciate that you're here, but I want to get your hot take on this because this is one of those conversations, and obviously, you know, Paris chimed in, so we appreciate him popping on for a bit. It is a bit of a conundrum. Access to new customers, it should always be looked upon as an advancement in your business. How this was turned into a negative is if Microsoft, oh, you see, they're not making consoles. Who said that? Where did you get that? I mean, Sarah Bond said that the next console that they're making is going to be leaps and bounds bigger and more powerful than anything they've done before. What happened to that? Did we forget about that? No, it's ridiculous, but I want to get your hot take on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been saying this for the last, 2 months, 3 months that I've been on, that people are engagement farming purely just to engagement farm. Dooming is a big, rage baiting is a big thing for clicks. It's absolutely silly. The one thing people keep not acknowledging is look at the PlayStation leak. We learned from that. Exclusives don't sell. They're not the revenue driver people thought they were. Same with hardware. Console market is not necessarily drying up, but it's hitting a roof. It's starting to hit that glass ceiling right there. And they're trying to find new ways on how to break through with not having to deal with selling more consoles in that sense. So what do? You expand to other ecosystems. I've been saying this for the last 3 months. You know, you branch out, you start going multi-platform with some of your live service games. You start going to Amazon Firestick. It's insanely frustrating that people constantly ignore the PlayStation leak and brush it off when that was the most telling thing on where the industry was going to head in the future. I see the same people, and a lot of it is grifting, but there's also a lot of, antiquated thinking in the sense where I've seen, a lot of people I actually respect that are kind of on the opposite side, that, they still think consoles and exclusives are the way to go. And it's just not. We're in the new age. It's not where it needs to be for any business to be. Both sides are going to be fine. PlayStation's going to be fine. Xbox is going to be fine, for at least the next few years, if they don't, if they curve their business like Xbox is doing. But it's just not where it needs to be for businesses to see the future. And Xbox got a lot of crap, but they always get a lot of crap. They're always ahead of the curve. And, we always see the same thing. PlayStation ends up, okay, like, you were right. They never say it. They just announce it, and it's like, oh, okay, you're just following in Xbox's footsteps. It's happened for years. It's just frustrating. But back to what I was saying, I've seen a lot of antiquated thinking where people think consoles and exclusives are the way to go. And it's not. Some of these people on Twitter, if they ran Xbox, and I've said this before too, if they ran Xbox, they would bankrupt it in less than 24 hours. It's so silly. And I get it. Like, you want exclusives, you want
Right.
Yeah, you want exclusives and you want these consoles, but it's just, you have no idea about the sense of what it takes to run a $1 billion business, let alone Microsoft, who's running $1 trillion business. They've made that money because they get ahead of the curve.